For many gay teens, the last place they want to be is inside a church. But Cafe Pride at Lakeview Presbyterian Church in Chicago is different. Every Friday evening, it offers a safe space for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, and questioning youth to hang out, talk, and have fun. Let's welcome Reverend LARISSA KWONG ABAZIA, Associate Pastor of Lakeview Church, and we also welcome 2 Lakeview Church members who volunteer at the cafe, John Bourgeois and Linda HAMBURG. Could you tell us first, Reverend ABAZIA, a little bit about how and why Cafe Pride started?
Sure. Cafe Pride is a safe social space for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgendered and questioning youth, ages 16 to 24, on Friday evenings from 8 p.m. until midnight. And one of the reasons that we exist is because there's so many social service agencies that are providing wonderful ministries to the youth, but there's not a safe social space for them to just hang out and be who they are in a safe space. And so that's what we wanted to provide on Friday nights.
And in a church, a lot of people might question that Cafe Pride is happening in a church where we don't think of support for people of various sexual orientations.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I think is one of the most amazing things about Cafe Pride, because I think 5 or 10 years from now, when these youth are hanging out with their friends, they can turn to them and say, on a Friday evening, I hung out in a church, which is not always a welcoming space that we think of for LGBTQ youth, or really LGBTQ folk in general. I think most times when we think of the church, we think of the 6 or 8 texts that people always talk about why we need to save LGBTQ folk. And I think in our church, we really live out the open door, open heart, and open mind, and really wanting to meet people where they are and celebrate that they are created and loved by God.
Okay. And to our volunteers, can you tell us a little bit about who shows up on Friday nights?
It's 30 to 40 youth each night.
It's a good sized group, okay.
Yeah, and you know, a very diverse group that come from a lot of times long distances from all parts of the city to come and hang out with each other and have a safe space, like you said, to be themselves, where no one's judging them and no one's harassing them, no one's hurting them, and they can just relax and have fun with each other, talk, and have a quiet evening.
So it doesn't sound like there's much of an agenda. This is just a community space.
Yeah, and John had said safe, and safe in all aspects of safe to be who they really are as people, and safe to be out of the elements and in a comforting space and a welcoming space. And no really agenda. Sometimes we'll have an activity set up. In the past we created a quilt, a paper quilt, and with everyone, the volunteers and the youth, creating quilt squares and then hooking those all together, and that's still displayed on the wall. We have a whole variety of games that we play, and some of highlights of my time there has been playing hangman on a chalkboard, or a really passionate Scrabble game, or team Scrabble, and just interacting, just connecting person to person.
Right, because as you said, there is no agenda. We're not preaching to them. We're not really, the concept of church and religion isn't ever really discussed unless they want to, but it is not there's no agenda to save them or to preach to them or to even kind of get them to come to church. It's just to show them that they can have a space where they are respected and appreciated, and that they can just be themselves, and that it's okay to be who they are.
We do emphasize in a kind of subtle way that we are members of that congregation.
Okay.
All the volunteers on a Friday night are all members, and so in the most subtle way, we want to link the service that's provided, the welcoming atmosphere, and connect that. That does grow out of our personal faith. I think that's why we're all there on a Friday night.
If it's not about preaching and teaching church, why is it important to the Lakeview congregation?
Well, I think sometimes when we think about ministry, we think about opening a Bible, reading scripture, and talking about this is what it means now somehow go out and live that. And I think Cafe Pride is one of the ways that we live that ministry and that mission and what we believe and who we are. And so just the sheer fact that we're opening our doors on a Friday night and welcoming lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered youth into our space and spending time with them and allowing them to feel valued, I think is a way that we're living that out.
Ministering to the community.
Exactly.
Tell us more about who these kids are. Do you have any stories? What kinds of things are they dealing with that they need this safe space?
Yeah, some of them either are homeless or have been homeless. Most of them don't have a stable family situation. They don't have a stable job situation, so they don't have steady income. And I think most of them are in this situation because, and most of them are an urban, it's a pretty, racially diverse group that comes. And so in their world, coming out as a gay youth is not accepted.
Okay.
And so because of that, they either leave home because they don't feel comfortable or loved at home, or they may be kicked out of their home, which puts them in a situation where they are not in school, they don't have a job, and so they are either on the streets or staying with friends and place to place. One
thing we've learned about their community is the almost quote-unquote families they've created for themselves. That was totally unexpected, I think, to a lot of us, that they've provided for themselves, created a community from what they lack, from their own families of origin. So that's those of us, some of us are in the social service field, and that was really enlightening, I think, for us.
And that leads, my next question is, what makes you want to volunteer? Why are you a part of this?
It's fun.
Good, it sounds fun. It sounds fun.
One of my peak moments I was saying earlier, as a grandma, this speaks to so many parts of me, the teacher, the grandma, the social worker, but the grandma part was bringing in my pan cookies and having one of our regulars with his mouth full say, "Oh my God, these are still warm."
So home-baked
cookies.
That'll
keep me baking those.
I bet.
Yeah, it is fun. I think, and I started going because I think I felt kind of a responsibility.
Okay.
When I came out that I was gay, it wasn't easy, but I was certainly not kicked out of my house or, had any kind of trouble that affected my school or my job. And so I feel like, these kids, just because they came out and they're gay, they're now, they're now, at a position where they can't turn to their family. Or so I feel like if I can go and just show them that people do care and do respect them. And so I think that's one great thing about our church is when they come, they see volunteers that are straight and gay and that, men and women and all kinds of different people that come and help volunteer each week. They can see people do care and we do respect them and appreciate them and value them, and that they can, see that, I can get out of my situation and improve my life somehow.
And I matter to somebody. Thank you, Reverend ABAZIA, John, and Linda. I'm Polly Toner for Different Drummers. Keep the faith.